presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Minnesota.
The Twins will close out the first month of their season this weekend at Target Field, where the weather is expected to be picture perfect. Tonight, they launch a 3-game series with the Tigers here in downtown Minneapolis. Phil Hughes returns to the hill for the Twins. He's experienced solid success in his last 60 games against AL Central opponents. Phil makes the 194th start of his major league career tonight against a pitcher who will be making his first. Michael Fulmer will make his major league debut for the Tigers. The 23-year-old from Oklahoma City has a lot on his mind tonight. We welcome you to Twins baseball on Fox Sports North. The Twins' first test of the season against the Tigers. Let's get you set up for this series, a series that features two of baseball's best pure hitters on display. Since he first faced the Twins in 2007, Miguel Cabrera has collected more hits, home runs, and RBI than any other Twins opponent. Joe Mauer has enjoyed similar success against Tigers pitching. Brian Dozier and Ian Kinsler of the Tigers, two of the game's top second basemen. Also number 1 and number 2 in run production from that position in Major League Baseball since 2014. So, who has an edge heading into the series? Despite the Tigers' tumble last season and the Twins' turnaround, the two teams have split their last 28 games played here at Target Field right down the middle. The Twins and Tigers square off for the first time this season here tonight. Up next, we'll look at Phil Hughes' quality over quantity this season. Hughes has 4 quality starts, but just 1 win.
On Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us. It's a great night for baseball at Target Field tonight. The opening game between the Twins and the Tigers. Phil Hughes has been very consistent for the Twins. He, more than any other Twins starting pitcher, has been victimized by the lack of run support. And he'll make the start for the Twins here tonight. And it is a beautiful night here at Target Field. Dick Bramer and Jack Morris for this Tigers series. Phil Hughes has done very well for the Twins. He's given them a chance to win in every game he's started so far this year, but the Twins have not scored him many runs.
And there lies the problem. You need run support to win, and Phil's done a pretty darn good job. You know, even last year, you look at the numbers in April for Phil Hughes, and you see that he doesn't get off to a good start. Well, when your team doesn't score 2 years back-to-back early in the year, you can understand why.
Well, the Twins have experience going for them on the mound here tonight. Phil Hughes has plenty of major league experience, knows the Tiger hitters very well, and we're all going to get our first glimpse at the top pitching prospect in the Tiger system, Michael Fulmer, making his major league debut.
Well, he's got all the pitches, and they're plus pitches according to his pitching coach, Rich Doobie. He said he's a kid that is basically aggressive. He goes out there, he can get over-amped up, and that's something that he's a little concerned about to start this game. That just like the other day when the Twins sent their phenom out there, they're worried that he might not be able to control his emotions early, and the Twins have to be patient to see if that happens.
Couple of good first basemen in this series. Joe Mauer's off to one of his better starts as a Twin, and Miguel Cabrera heating up for the Tigers. The first of three between Minnesota and Detroit comes up next.
Phil Hughes, cutter.
I like his cutter.
I think that's because I face him so much.
I never could hit when he was with the Yankees. He's got one of the best rising fastballs in the game.
Another guy, once he's on the mound, he's all business and he's ready to go.
Like I always say, he never stops throwing strikes. Everything he throws is for a strike. So he's going to come in and either you hit him or you get a hit or he's going to get you out. And that's kind of the way I like it. He doesn't really nibble around the zone. He comes right after you.
Phil Hughes leading the Twins onto the field. 4 starts for Hughes prior to tonight. 4 quality starts, but only 1 win and 3 losses.
Yeah, that's, it's kind of hard to swallow for Phil. He deserves better, but I like what Kurt Suzuki said. He never stops throwing strikes, and you want a guy to be aggressive within the zone. He has the ability to throw the ball all quadrants of the zone. The cutter can start inside, it can start outside and kind of backdoor you, and the fastball is something that he trusts and believes in. He's coming at you trying to get ahead.
And so much rain, we're not used to seeing blue sky. Detroit coming into this game, they had a good series to get back above the 500 mark at 11-10. Brad Ausmus in his 3rd year. And the Menards batting order for Detroit. Ian Kinsler will lead things off to a great start. J.D. Martinez moved up to the number 2 spot. Then Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, Justin Upton moved down to 5th. Then Castellanos, Savilas, Wilson, and Goes.
They're going to be facing that guy right there, Phil Hughes. He's making his 5th start, and you can see Phil has had a tough go of it, but ERA not too bad. It's still under 4, and we talk all the time that he throws strikes. Got 19 strikeouts, and I promise you he's going to try to throw strikes here as we start this ballgame.
Kinsler hitting in the leadoff spot for Detroit. Off to one of his better starts at 345. 11 multi-hit games already in the young season for the Tigers second baseman. And off the outside corner, ball 1. Ryan Blackney behind the plate. Walcott, Gorman, DeMuro on the bases. Kinsler, Martinez. No, I have not. You're right. And a check swing, 2-0. Kinsler, Martinez, and Cabrera to face Hughes here in the first inning. And Hughes falls behind 3-0. 4 walks from Phil Hughes, 2 each in his last 2 starts.
I can't remember. I literally can't remember a game that he started the first hitter off 3-0.
And he missed. Oh, strike call. I've been given that pitch. It's 3-1.
That's the movement that we talk about with Phil Hughes. He tends to, all he has to do is try to hit Kirk Suzuki's glove, because it does move around in the zone, and he might have got away with one there.
And that looked like it might have hit the corner.
Yeah, they make up for it.
So a leadoff walk to Kinsler. Let's check out the Twins out in the field. Oswaldo Arcia in left. Danny Santana in center. Miguel Sano back in the outfield. Nunez at third. Escobar Dozier up the middle. Mauer at first. And Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. Dangerous to walk guys in front of the likes of Cabrera and Martinez. And J.D. Martinez hitting second is a dangerous hitter. Hughes gets ahead of him 0-1.
Yeah, they usually have J.D. Martinez hitting in the 5th spot behind Victor Martinez, but they moved him up, and he's had pretty good success there. Kind of like what we just saw in Cleveland with Santana leading off. He doesn't typically do that.
1 strike to J.D. Martinez. Breaking ball missing, and it's 1-1. You know, the Tigers had a kind of a dry spell offensively. Brad Ausmus complained about their hitting, yet the Tigers are hitting .258. The Twins are hitting .242. Tigers have scored 96 runs. The Twins have scored 77 runs. Tigers have hit 25 home runs. The Twins have hit 20. There goes Kinsler. He got a walking lead. There's no chance for Suzuki had he even caught the ball cleanly and transferred it to his throwing hand. Kinsler with a huge jump at first.
You can see he just walks and takes off. There's nothing a catcher can do. We saw Joe Mauer do that the other night, and even if that ball's caught, and as good as Kurt Suzuki could transfer the ball into his throwing hand, no chance for Kinsler there.
8 pitches, 2 strikes for Hughes. A runner at second, nobody out. And now 3-1. In his first year with the Twins, Hughes won 16 ball games and walked 16 men.
Yeah. No, he's always had phenomenal control.
And that's the second time a hitter was on his way to first thinking it was ball 4, and it instead now 3-2.
Phil's got to keep an eye on Kinsler at second. He may just get that same kind of walking lead if he doesn't.
Hit high and deep to center field, and Santana watches it hit off the wall. Kinsler held up. He's still being waved around third. Throw to the plate is not in time, and the Tigers with a double after the walk lead 1-0.
Well, you fall behind, you got to throw the ball over the plate, And Phil Hughes does that, and unfortunately it's right out where J.D. Martinez likes the ball, and he hit it with authority. I thought this ball had a chance maybe to go on out. You can see that he tried to get it outside to Kurt Suzuki. The ball stayed right over the middle of the plate, and off the wall it went. Ian Kinsler had to retag second. He didn't know if that was going to go over the head of Danny Santana or not, and he's still able to score fairly easily.
Miguel Cabrera lifts it foul and out of play. Hughes gets ahead. Now Cabrera's had tremendous success against Hughes. He hits everybody pretty well, I suppose. Might be a few guys that give him trouble, but not Phil Hughes. 17 for 38, a .447 average against Phil Hughes, and 5 home runs.
Yeah, I think Phil's probably still trying to figure out, how do I pitch to Miguel? When you have those kind of numbers,
join the club, huh?
Yeah, it's well, you're always aware of the best in the game. You know, you want to get those guys out as a pitcher. I think that gives you the confidence that you belong. But in Cabrera's case, he just must really see the ball extremely well. Plus the fact that Phil throws so many fastballs. Cabrera, not a guy you can throw the same pitch to.
Fouled away again. A good series against the A's. So strong, power to all field.
Well, he had really had a slow start in his terms anyway. Before this series against the Oakland A's back at Comerica, and he had a couple home runs in one game. You can see that it doesn't take Miguel long, and when he gets heated up, he kind of stays there.
Trying to throw that cutter over the inside corner to get a called third strike, but no. He was 15 pitches, still looking for his first out. Tigers have a run and another runner in scoring position. Tapper left side, and Cabrera will be thrown out. No place for Martinez to go. One away.
A good pitch, good location right there. He ends up throwing the breaking ball down in a way that you don't see Miguel Cabrera swinging at all that often. Goes off the end of his bat. He, a lot of times, will try to shoot that ball to right field. I think he's a little frustrated with himself.
Here is Victor Martinez. Martinez last year really struggled from the left side of the plate with knee issues that beset him. And now he's hitting .280 from this side of the plate with some power. And a strike.
Victor, another one of the pure hitters in the Tiger lineup. Now, you mentioned his knee issues last year. He had ankle issues pushing off his back leg a couple years ago, and that continued on last year. He's a former catcher, and we all know how much abuse they take bending down every single pitch.
One strike to Victor Martinez. Now 1-1. You saw the splits in his career. That's the sign of a really good hitter.
Yeah, when you can produce from both sides of the plate and the numbers are almost identical, that just lets everybody know that you can adjust him. You know, that's why he's a DH. Even, I mean, he's probably one of the poorer runners in baseball right now, but you cannot keep his bat out of the lineup because he can do damage.
Even the rules have a hard time controlling him. The Tigers started the season with the National League Series in Miami against the Marlins. No designated hitter, of course, and so Martinez wasn't in the starting lineup, but he still hit a pinch hit home run in each game. That's a weapon on the bench to have one of the better hitters in the game to pinch hit. Grounder right side, base hit. J.D. Martinez to third, so no charges, and he double clutches the throw, and it'll be 2-0 Detroit. Not sure whether he would have had a chance at J.D. Martinez or not. A walk, a pair of hits, and so far a pair of Tiger runs.
Let's watch location of the pitch. Again, too much of the middle of the plate. Gets by a diving Brian Dozier, and Miguel Sano comes up with it, but you mentioned it, could not get the feel right there, and that little pause was probably enough to score J.D. Martinez from second base.
And now Justin Upton really struggling in his first year with the Tigers. Sub 200 batting average and a lot of strikeouts. Fouled back. Upton with 86 at bats and 36 strikeouts. He's put the ball in play 50 times.
It certainly has been a disappointing start for Tiger fans when they get Justin Upton and all the hype that goes along with the power that he can bring to the ball club, and he just hasn't really come through with any of that yet. Strikeouts are significant. We talk all the time about the Twins and how they have really struggled early, but you look to his walk to strikeouts, and that's not a good number, I don't think.
3 walks, 36 strikeout to 0. And Hughes gets ahead of him 0-2. That's hit to right center field and down for a hit. Martinez rounds second, and he'll eventually get to third base. The Tigers come out swinging against Phil Hughes, who issued a walk to start the ball game and now has given up 3 hits.
Well, that right there is probably the best swing Justin Upton has taken all year. The ball's down and away. It's a little cutter. Again, hard at the plate, but he didn't try to do too much with it. And Victor Martinez is he's moving.
He got there.
He got there. I guess when you hit the ball in the gap, you can take your time getting around the baseballs.
Castellanos batting. Hughes never given up more than 3 earned runs in any start this year and has always gone longer than 6 innings. And the Tigers are ambushing him here in the first inning. Castellanos off to a good start, hitting .333. High fly to right field. Sano, Santana converge, and Sano with the catch, and the throw coming through, and Martinez is able to score. It's 3-0. Sacrifice fly for Castellanos, and as Jose Barrios got an early lead in the ball game yesterday, in his major league debut, Michael Fulmer has a quick 3-0 lead, and he hasn't thrown a pitch yet.
Well, Nick Castellanos does his job right there. You can see the congratulations he's getting in the dugout. He hit the ball deep enough, and Miguel Sano showing off the strength of his throwing arm, but even with Victor Martinez running, he's able to score.
Here's Mike Aviles. And a fastball, strike 1.
Mike Aviles hanging in there, coming from Cleveland. He's played with Kansas City. He's been in the Central Division, and he's a guy that's played the outfield, the infield. He's willing to go wherever they put him. And today, getting a chance at shortstop, they're giving Jose Iglesias the day off.
Continues to make his tour through the American League Central. Played earlier in his career with Kansas City, Cleveland, Detroit. A matter of time before he'll work his way through Chicago and eventually Minnesota.
Is that a call?
3-0 already for the Tigers. 2 down and a runner at first, and 1 strike to Aviles. Ball back, 2 strikes.
I don't know if it's any concern really, because it is early in the ball game, but Phil Hughes hasn't really thrown that fastball with the velocity we're used to seeing. He can touch in the mid-90s when he rears back and lets it go, but in the low 90s here to start this game. He's probably just trying to feel a little bit in his command.
Chopper left side, and Escobar guns it across, gets Aviles to end the inning. With a good start for the Tigers as they hang 3 up against Phil Hughes. Jose Barrios a 3-0 lead after the first inning, and in tonight's game, Michael Fulmer gets a 3-0 lead before he throws his first pitch. Paul Molitor, in his second year as manager, wants to get his career mark, and more importantly, the Twins' season mark back into the 500 mark. The Menards batting order tonight, the opener with Detroit. Danny Santana leading off, then Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, Young-Ho Park, Oswaldo Arcia, Eduardo Nunez, Eduardo Escobar, and Kurt Suzuki.
Michael Fulmer making his major league debut. Those are his AAA Toledo numbers, 20 strikeouts in 15 innings. So he's a power guy, and he's going to come at you. Hopefully he'll come at you. He's got 3 runs to work with. That's what you're taught to do, right?
Yes. And the 3 runs should calm down the major league debut nerves. A 1-hopper back to the mound, and that might help settle him down a little bit too. A 1-hopper back to the mound. He makes the fielding play, 1 down. And that'll bring up Brian Dozier.
Well, you throw 2 pitches, you get 1 right back at you. You get to field the ball, throw it to former or future Hall of Famer, I should say. And you got 3 runs to work with. So
just got his first major league assist, Jack.
Yeah, first out. You'll always remember that, I think.
Brian Dozier takes a strike over the inside corner. 23 years old, the Eastern League Pitcher of the Year last year. 2 years ago right now, he was in low A ball and in a different organization, inside 1-1 in the Mets organization.
I was told that there was about 7 to 9 different conversations with the Mets and the Tigers about the Yoenis Cespedes deal, and that Fulmer was the one that the Tigers kept on insisting to get, and they didn't want to get rid of him. And finally they decided to make the deal happen, and the Tigers got who they wanted.
And Dozier strikes out, 2 down.
Pretty good hard slider. There's an indication of that breaking ball.
Paul Molitor telling me the slider, and you've seen it from the center field camera, breaks almost straight down.
Well, it's the kind of break you want. You want 2 different planes. You want it to break horizontal and perpendicular, and he does that. It's kind of like an X. And a good location right there, down and away.
2 down, and now Joe Mauer. And a belt-high strike.
96-mile-an-hour fastball right there with a little tail.
Well, on that basis alone, the Mets, I'm sure, felt comfortable trading him. He would 96 wouldn't cut muster in that Mets rotation.
DeGrom and
Syndergaard. Side corner, and it's 0-2. Well, the other night, even though Barrios survived the first couple innings with a 3-0 lead, the Indians made him work. The Twins have not made Fulmer work at all here in this first inning. Outside. This will be just the 10th pitch of his first major league inning.
I love that last pitch.
Because?
Well, he made Joe move his feet. He had a little hair on it. 97 miles an hour. How many times have you seen Joe Mauer have to move his feet?
Ooh. Where was that pitch?
I don't know.
He absolutely froze Mauer and looked like that had plenty of the plate.
I know he hits the target, that's for sure. Well,
2-2.
Rookie against a longtime veteran right there.
You cross that bridge from your rookie years to veteran status. Northland Ford defense for the Tigers. Justin Upton's in left. Anthony Goes is in center. J.D. Martinez in right. Castellanos, Sevilas, Kinsler, Cabrera, and Wilson around the infield. Iglesias and Saltalamacchi out of the starting lineup tonight. And now Lowe, 3-2.
Well, Joe getting the break there with that 1 pitch, but now he's working the count. Joe Mauer's as good as there is when it comes to tracking the ball in the strike zone. He certainly has a tremendous eye.
And slashed foul. You see Mauer at so many levels looks like the player he was 3-4 years ago. Foul balls, a discerning eye at the plate, cutting way down on the number of strikeouts, and he's drawn 20 walks. 3-2 from Fulmer. Another foul. Joe will tell you that he is where he is because of more time between his concussion symptoms and now natural timeline of recovery. Toyota key stat. First 22 games of the season, and Joe up there with some pretty lofty numbers. There's another foul ball.
And this is what he's so good at. When he doesn't have a pitch that he can drive, he's able to put the bat in the ball and foul him off. And that just, trust me, as a pitcher, you get so annoyed with making quality pitch after quality pitch. You're hitting your spot down in the zone, inner half, outer half, whatever it is, and the hitter keeps fouling off those nasty pitches.
Laced up the middle, a base hit. What a great at bat for Mauer.
Wow.
Fell behind, and he might have gotten a break on a ball strike call, but he kept fouling off pitches and absolutely drilled a 97-mile-per-hour fastball.
The more he gets to see the number, unless it gets over 100 miles an hour, doesn't seem to matter. You know, 97, 94, what's the difference to Joe Mauer? Once he gets about 3 or 4 to track into the batting zone, he just reverses that heater right up the middle.
And now Sano. And Joe Mauer's reached now in all 23 games this year. Sano with a swing and a miss. And an off-speed pitch at 90 miles per hour.
90-mile-an-hour slider.
Wow.
That was the average fastball not that long ago.
And now 1-1. Twins went 8-11 against the Tigers last year after being humiliated in the first 3 games in Detroit. Played them straight up after that.
The way the Tigers started off last year, you would have never guessed that they were going to finish last in their division. But a lot of injuries to key players last year.
Capper left side. And Castellanos fires across to end the first inning. Phil Hughes hoping for a better second inning, trailing 3-0. Cold hard facts brought to you now by Clean Crisp Coors Light, the silver bullet. And since 2014, since he became a Twin, only 2 pitchers in the American League Central have more wins than Phil Hughes. Bobby Wilson leading things off, and he sends the first pitch foul down the right side. James McCann is recovering from an ankle sprain, so Jared Saltalamacchia, who was signed as the backup for the Tigers this year, is become the regular catcher, and Wilson getting a chance to play backup for the big league club.
Yeah, McCann will be coming off the DL here fairly soon. He was doing all baseball activities as of a week ago, and I think might even be on rehab right now. So it won't be long, and they'll have the regular catcher back. And there's Jared Saltalamacchia on the right there.
2-1. Popped up. Mauer runs out of room. 2-2. It'll be Wilson goes and Kinsler in the Tigers' second. Cutter thought he hit the corner, maybe not. 3-2.
In a day and age where the shift has become more the norm than not, Twins playing Bobby Wilson directly straight away.
And a called third strike. Wilson called out on strikes, 1 down. With 1 away in the second, let's find Audra Martin.
Thanks, guys. Les, Phil Hughes makes his 5th start of the season. The rest of the rotation is going to look a bit different going forward. Earlier today, Paul Molitor announced that Ricky Nolasco will get the start on Sunday on normal rest. Now, Tommy Malone will then be moved to the bullpen in a long relief role. So that means the Houston series is going to kick off with Jose Barrios getting his 2nd start on Monday, followed by Alex Meyer, who will get his 1st start on Tuesday. Now, he's available tonight from the bullpen, but then he will get ready to get focused for that game on Tuesday. So guys, just like that, 3 new faces in the rotation.
Well, thank you, Audra. A base hit to right by Anthony Goes. 1 week ago, if you were to look at the Twins rotation, and the Twins 9 games below 500, 8 games, whatever, you know, it wasn't because of the starting rotation. The starters were okay, but you looked at AAA and you saw Duffy was pitching well. Alex Meyer was pitching well. Barrios was dominant. And 1 week later, they're not only here, they're in the Twins rotation.
It is unusual, and the Twins placed both Kyle Gibson and Irvin Santana on the DL on the same day. That doesn't happen very often, even in today's game, where both 2 starters will go down on the same day. Kyle Gibson there on the left with a strained right shoulder, and hopefully Irvin Santana won't be too much longer with the sore back.
He's going to throw tomorrow. Paul Molitor said it would be unfair to call it a bullpen session. I suspect he will play catch and throw and be as aggressive as he feels he can without suffering a re-injury. And the hope is that it will feel good, and then maybe a couple days after that, a bullpen session.
From what I know about back injuries, there's not much you can do. I mean, you can't move. I mean, if you can't move, you can't throw.
Well, he was showing off the other day when we were in D.C., saying it felt much better. This was, I guess, 2 days after he injured it. He could touch his toes. Now, for a guy our age, you know, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, show off.
Yeah, if you can do that, you ought to be able to pitch. But it's a, you know, you get on the mound. And one thing, you know, fans maybe have a hard time relating to, you can throw on flat ground and maybe not feel anything. But you get on that mound, and it's a completely not different throwing motion, but it does different things, you know, to your back and your torso in the lower half.
Well, you get more extension because you're throwing on a not on a flat ground. You're throwing downhill, basically.
Right. 1-1 to Ian Kinsler. Led off the ball game with a walk, stole a base, scored a run. 1-2.
That's been a pet peeve of mine ever since I first saw it. Every pitcher, bullpen guys, starters, they have what they call their flat ground work. They go out on the grass with tennis shoes on and throw to a catcher. Now, to me, it's just an accident waiting to happen. If you want to pitch, get on the mound, get a catcher, have him go to where the catcher stands, sits, and throw a bullpen. I don't get it.
High fly to left. And Arcia, short of the track, makes the catch. 2 away. May 9th is Scrubs Night at Target Field. A limited number of Scrubs Night theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and Twins scrub bottoms. Go to twinsbaseball.com/scrubs to learn more about the Scrubs Night theme night offer.
Say that 5 times fast.
I had a hard time saying it once. But now then the follow-up would be the tops that go with it, right? If they're giving away the bottoms. 2 down, runner at first. Here's J.D. Martinez. Well, just to follow up on what you were talking about, pitchers throwing on flat ground. Years ago, I was working with Tommy John for a couple of years on Twins television. And he said that at some point earlier in his career he might have, but very quickly he learned there's no point for me to throw on flat ground. So he said every time I threw a baseball, every time I went to a mound, because why do something if the idea is to build muscle memory?
Exactly.
Replicate as much as you can of what you're going to do when you're asked to do it.
Well, and another thing that's changed, and it's just the different generations, obviously, but for 80 years of baseball, you never saw a pitcher go out and throw his warm-up tosses on the outfield grass to a catcher in front of a bunch of people standing out in the outfield. And I got to believe, this is my theory. There was one very arrogant young man that decided that he wasn't going to last too long in the game, so he figured he needed as much attention as possible, and I call it the dig me syndrome. You go out there and you take your hat off and you throw a long toss in front of everybody that's there because you're not going to last long. Somehow it stuck and everybody's doing it now.
1-1 to J.D. Martinez, a swing and a miss.
That's what really puzzles me is when somebody does it and then all of a sudden you see everybody kind of migrate towards it and it doesn't make sense. Now the long toss I can live with. That's actually okay. But this flat ground stuff, I just don't get it.
1-2 to J.D. Martinez. Goes at first. He has some speed, and Hughes gives him a look back.
Meanwhile, Phil Hughes 1 out away from getting out of this inning.
Scooped by Suzuki. 2-2.
J.D. Martinez has really kind of changed everything since being released by the Houston Astros and coming over to the Detroit Tigers a couple years ago. He started changing his whole philosophy on hitting, and he's got tremendous arm extension when he swings at a baseball, and it's an uppercut swing. He prefers the ball out over the plate. He hits the right field as well as anybody.
Popped up right side.
That was a good pitch right there.
Dozier scampers, almost had to run 90 feet to get there. He was playing near second base. He gets there, makes the catch, the inning over, and we head to the bottom of the inning where Byung Ho Park will lead things off. first inning in his big league career came to the Tigers on the trading deadline date of July 31st. It cost the Tigers Yoenis Cespedes. And Luis Cessa, also acquired by the Tigers, later traded to the Yankees. Well, Park takes a strike. Based on what Cespedes did for the Mets last year, Michael Fulmer could win 300 major league games and it would still be a good trade for the New York Mets, because Cespedes almost single-handedly transformed that Mets team last year and took them to the brink of a World Series championship.
Well, and really, in effect, the way it all worked out is instead of Yoenis Cespedes in left field, they have Justin Upton. And even though Upton got a base hit RBI, or a base hit in the first inning, I think most people would prefer to have Cespedes back out there. Now, it might not all work out that way by the end of the year, but the way it started, it's kind of that way.
Well, the Tigers needed some pitching help. You know, the days are gone when you play the Tigers and pick your poison. It was, their rotation was Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Doug Fister, Rick Porcello, and Anibal Sanchez. Park strikes out, one away. They have holes in their rotation they didn't have just a couple years ago. Sanford Health Injury Report talking about a cavity in the Tiger rotation. Shane Green, who got off to a great start last year and then struggled, injured now. He's got a blister on his middle finger. They had to come out of his last start and they had to put him on the disabled list.
Well, it's something I actually called that game, and he was cruising along for a couple innings anyway in blister form. And I can only imagine. We were talking about before the game that I had never really remember having a blister on my throwing fingers, but I can imagine how much it hurts. And I don't think you could throw a baseball if you had a blister.
And the more you try to throw, the less time it has to heal, and it just goes.
In Shane Green's case, the blister popped and it was bleeding, so you know now you got raw meat there.
A high fly down the right field line. It's a foul ball, and it's 1-2.
Well, this is pretty much power against power. Arcia loves the fastball, and he's probably going to see something hard from Michael Fulmer.
And the Tigers probably are aware that Arcia's had a hard time with high fastballs. There's a high fastball.
You want him to chase, but when it gets that high, it's over your head. It's pretty easy to lay off. You've got to make it tempting.
And there's a strikeout. 3 quick strikeouts already for Michael Fulmer in his debut. They've all been swinging strikeouts. Twins fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Twins wherever you go. 2 down here in the second. Twins have a line drive base hit from Joe Mauer and a long at bat. And now here's Eduardo Nunez.
Well, Fulmer easy for me to say. Fulmer certainly has a live arm. You see the fastball there, 96, 97 miles an hour. He is not no longer nervous out there. He's letting it go. He's got a nice lead to work with, and he's coming at you.
You know, that's the thing. Jose Barrios was never able to get into a rhythm, and eventually had to come out of the ball game. But here Fulmer is off to a really good start. There's a bunt, and it hit him in the batter's box. It's just a strike. You know, Fulmer has the 3-0 lead. Faces just 4 men in the first. A couple of quick strikeouts here in the second, and he should have every reason to be settled down a lot more than he was a half hour ago.
The Tigers acquired in the offseason 4-game winner Jordan Zimmerman, and he comes at you a lot like Fulmer does.
This one driven to right and fairly deep. J.D. Martinez makes the catch, and it's a 1-2-3 second inning. Tigers early on against Phil Hughes. And Miguel Cabrera, simply put, one of the best hitters of his generation, a future Hall of Famer. So if I were Phil Hughes, I'd try to throw down and away.
Well, the shaded area is his hot zones where he has unbelievable numbers, and he is a great hitter. He's a guy, and we're going to watch the sequence of pitches here from Phil. He's a guy that you can't pattern, really. You've got to change it up all the time because he is smart, and he will notice if you're trying to stay away all the time, or if you throw a breaking ball in only to go away. The good hitters kind of sense that this is what they're going to do, and you might win the battle in the first time, but you're going to lose the war in the end.
A couple of pitches outside, and then a pitch inside, and a fly ball to left center, and Santana makes the catch, one away.
Well, let's watch these 3 pitches as we replay them for you. First pitch is away, a breaking ball away, a little cutter, and then he comes right back with the fastball away just off the plate. That's a little bit too good a pitch right there, and I think that shows that Miguel Cabrera isn't really dialed in yet, because that's a pitch he usually does not miss.
With one down, Victor Martinez will stare at an infield shift, with Nunez, the third baseman, crossing second base and playing on the right side of the infield. Ball 1. Martinez with a base hit, driving in a run. The hit going to right field. He later scored a run in the 3-run first inning, 2-0.
Victor Martinez, I think, is one of the reasons Miguel Cabrera gets so many hittable pitches. You cannot put Cabrera on and then have to deal with Victor. Victor's a professional hitter himself.
High fly to right, and Sano back at the edge of the track. Out number 2. And we'll get us to Justin Upton first. That's baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by T-Mobile. Get Major League coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. Justin Upton with a single. Hughes got ahead of him and then lost him to a base hit to center. Ball 1. 50 pitches already for Hughes. Still pitching in the 3rd inning.
Not the typical numbers we're accustomed to seeing from Phil. He's usually ahead. First pitch strikes are the norm. That doesn't mean he won't find it, but he's been a little erratic to start this game.
Of course, what he'd like to do is exactly what Josh Tomlin did for the Indians the other night when he gave up 3 first-inning runs. Then he found something and stayed with it and got through the middle innings.
Yeah, he had like a 9-pitch inning.
Another base hit for Upton going up the middle for a 2-out single. And that'll bring up Castellanos.
Another pitch up in the zone. Justin Upton gets a second pitch out over the plate that he's able to hit the ball right back up the middle.
5 hits already for the Tigers. They bunched 3 of them together along with a walk to score 3 runs in the first.
See the numbers there for Nick Castellanos. Is off to a very good start. One of his best starts in his short major league career.
Taken low, ball 1. 54 pitches for Hughes, but by his standards he's been erratic because he's only thrown 30 strikes. Normally Phil, at times when he's been going well, he's had a 3-to-1 strike to ball ratio. 55% his strike percentage.
I don't think we can stress it enough. We talked about a couple years ago when Phil joined the Twins. 16 wins in the rotation and only 16 walks all year. That to me, that blows my mind. I mean, that's unheard of. and yet that's the kind of command that he has. And even tonight, he would tell you that this is not Phil Hughes. He usually pounds the strikes in.
209 2/3 innings in that 2014 season. 2-0. And a roller to the right side. And Castellanos thrown out. And it's a scoreless third for Detroit. The Twins are down 3-0. Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. Quick start for the Tigers. They're up 3-0. Twins hitting now in the bottom of the third inning. It'll be Eduardo Escobar, Kurt Suzuki, Danny Santana. Michael Fulmer in his major league debut has sent down 6 of the 7 men. We'll see if the leadoff man can get on. Maybe getting Fulmer back into the stretch position with nobody out will get him out of his rhythm a little bit. 1 strike. And Escobar down with a tapper foul. Two strikes. And Escobar fights one off.
That time Fulmer went up in the zone. Saw Bobby Wilson raise his glove up. He wanted the fastball up, and Eduardo was able to stay on top of the ball.
Tapper right side. Cabrera has it. And Fulmer to the bag. 1 away. That'll bring up Kurt Suzuki. The Budweiser roof deck is the ultimate Minnesota Twins outdoor experience. The roof deck is available for your group of 250 guests on both Independence and Labor Day weekends. Your clients and staff will love the views, the large fire up there as the sun sets and it gets a little cooler. Everything you need for mixing game time with social time. Go to twinsbaseball.com/groups. Learn more about how your group can experience the Budweiser roof deck. You've been up there, haven't you, Jack Morris?
I have. The views are incredible. You stand in the corner and look straight down. It's a long way down.
I did enough of that in Washington, D.C. from our broadcast booth.
Reminded me of my old ski jumping days.
You know, we talked about that on the air. I still, you know, hey, Game 7 of the 1991 World Series. Big deal. You went ski jumping. That's impressive to me.
Or stupid.
How'd you do that the first time?
Well,
I've never understood how guys do that the first time.
They're small little jumps. you don't start out on the big 90-meter.
All right. Suzuki up the middle. A 1-out base hit. And Suzuki, as Mauer did, lining a single to center, this time with 1 out in the third. Santana tried for a base hit up the middle. He hit a one-hopper back to the mound, and Fulmer made the play. How fast was your climb through the minor league system with the Tigers? Because we mentioned Fulmer 2 years ago. He was in low A ball.
It was fairly quick. I was lucky I was in the right place at the right time. First of all, I started in Double-A out of college, and I played a total of a year down there.
Off the glove of Cabrera, and everyone will be safe. Santana with a hit. And Cabrera looking backward like he may have spun his wheels or something. And Santana gets a hit. Now the Twins get the tying run to the plate in Brian Dozier.
You see Miguel going to his right, and it hits off the heel of his glove. He never really got his hand on the ball. I don't know if his eyes came off the ball or what, but you can see as he's lunging towards it, deflects off his glove, and everybody's safe. See if Brian Dozier can keep the wheel moving here.
Dozier, of course, hit a couple of big walk-off home runs, the second of the homestand right before the All-Star break against the Tigers. And it was a significant home run for the Twins, maybe even more significant for the Tigers. Foul back. And right below us. You may remember the home run came in the 9th inning. Twins went into the inning down 6 runs and came back and won the ball game.
It was a very exciting night here at Target Field.
And what it did for the Twins was get them a little momentum going into the All-Star break. Busted bat, a foul ball. And but what it did for the Tigers, the Twins won the last 3 games of that series and brought the Tigers back down to the 500 mark at the All-Star break. And then they came out of the break and struggled, and then put them in sell mode by the end of July, and that's why they traded Cespedes and others to start rebuilding. And because of that, there was a little falling out between the owner and the general manager, and Dave Dombrowski ended up in Boston.
Well, there was definitely a snowball effect, and you could say that it started with that home run from Brian Dozier. It was a very exciting night here at Target Field.
2 strikes. And Dozier pokes it into short center, and it's just on the outfield grass. In fact, the infield fly rule was called by first base umpire Quinn Wolcott. 2 down. And that'll bring up Mauer with 2 on and 2 out.
One at bat is all Fulmer has seen in Joe Mauer, but that at bat was significant. You got to wonder now, with a base open and 2 outs, will he be intentionally walked? In other words, will he pitch around Joe Mauer to face Miguel Sano, or is he one of those young guys that doesn't know any better and he says I can win, and he's going to come after him?
First pitch, fastball, strike 1. The first pitch, or the first at bat with Mauer, lasted 10 pitches, and it ended with a screaming line drive to center field for a 2-out single.
We talked about Miguel Sano, and you can't pattern him as a pitcher, and I think that the same can be said about Joe Mauer.
The ball hit to the left field corner, but it'll twist foul. You said Miguel Sano. I think you meant Miguel Cabrera.
I'm sorry. We were talking about the great hitter that Miguel Cabrera is and how smart he is, and I think Joe Mauer is the same way. He will look in an area. If you stay away and away, he's going to look away. If you know, very few people pitch Joe Mauer in because he's got that classic inside-out swing, and he shoots the ball to left field. But in reality, I think that's where Joe Mauer needs to be pitched, is in, and they're going to come in there right now.
Changed his swing. Fulmer had Mauer here in the 3rd inning, right where he had him in the 1st. Got ahead of him 0-2. Then there was that borderline pitch that wasn't called, a called 3rd strike. Mauer worked the count full, ended up getting his base hit. Now it's 1-2. Checked his swing, 2-2. You know, when hitters are getting a lot of hits, they're talking about seeing the ball well. And in Mauer's case, It's the pitches he doesn't swing at, the close pitches that he takes for a ball. Look at where Bauer's hitting, and yeah, I wouldn't pitch him in there at his 529 range.
That last pitch is the one lower left-hand quadrant, and he's able to lay off, and that shows that he's dialed in.
Left side, Castellanos picks it up and fires to Cabrera. The Twins get a couple of hits, and Fulmer survives with a scoreless third inning. Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Dick Bramer and Jack Morris, the opener of the Twins-Tigers series. And Jack, you like I live here in the wintertime. And we have no complaints about the weather, but boy, it seems like it's been forever since we've seen clear skies here. We had a very mild winter here, and I enjoyed it at least. And we just had a lot of gloom and rain here at home, and it's just nice to see the skies clear. And
yeah, gorgeous evening here in downtown Minneapolis. Sky is gorgeous.
One strike to Aviles, and now a ground ball foul, 2 strikes. Bottom third of the Tiger order, Aviles, he grounded out to short his first time up. Then Wilson, who was called out on strikes, and then Goes, who got a single. All third strike.
There you go.
Aviles is retired, and for some news and notes around baseball, let's check in with Audra Martin.
Thanks, guys. Of course, Major League Baseball has been buzzing today with the news that no one ever wants to hear. Earlier today, the league announced that Miami Marlins second baseman and defending National League batting champ Dee Gordon has been suspended for 80 games for violating the PED policy. He denies knowingly taking those, but is accepting the suspension. Rangers ace Yu Darvish is set to make his first rehab appearance Sunday after having Tommy John surgery over a year ago. The 3-time All-Star is expected to be back in the rotation in the second half of May. And obviously, Jared Goff is a name we all know now, thanks to becoming the first overall pick in the NFL draft last night. But what you might not know is his dad spent 6 years playing Major League Baseball. He was a catcher, and while he's not a household name, he does still have a Major League Baseball record on his final appearance in baseball, May 12, 1996. Well, he was credited with 6 passed balls, and it's still a record today. So not the best record, but still in the record books nonetheless.
Well, thank you, Audra. I can honestly say I don't remember the name Jerry Goff. Do you, as a Major League catcher?
I don't.
In those years now, in Goff's defense, that was about the time Tim Wakefield was pitching with the Pirates, perhaps, and pass balls with a knuckleballer on the mound are pretty commonplace. Here is Anthony Goes, single to right his first time up. Hughes gets ahead of him, 0-1. And now 1-1.
7th, and he goes. He got a base hit. His first at bat, a fastball, kind of jumped on that first pitch off Phil Hughes.
So far, so good for Hughes. We were talking about how he wanted to do what Tomlin did for the Indians the other day after a rough start, settle in and give his team some good innings and keep the number the same, 3. And Hughes has done that. You know, like falling behind 3-0, I know, but after you're done with the inning, you can't do anything about that inning.
You've got to just keep going back out there with the same intention. That is to get the guys in the dugout. Pitching coach Neil Allen looking on. But yeah, Phil's done a great job since that first inning. Maybe the umpire is starting to realize that Phil's always around the strike zone.
2-2. And now full count.
And the Twins finally putting a little pressure last half inning on Michael Fulmer and working his pitch count up.
And Hughes looks off in the distance. I think he thought he had the corner, but it's ball 4. Second walk issued by Hughes. Fox strikes presented by Jeep.
Backdoor cutter here.
No, it was outside. And now Kinsler walked and scored to start that ugly first inning. And then later hit a fly ball to right field. Ball 1. Fly ball center field, and Santana coming in, still coming in, and makes a running catch for the 3rd out of the 4th inning. Only in Minnesota can you find a selection of alluring, fascinating, and hidden waterfalls throughout the state. Grand Portage State boasts the highest waterfall, High Falls of the Pigeon River. A remarkable sight. It plummets 120 feet down a shale rock cliff into a shallow pool and then out to Lake Superior, the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Find it in the park at the far northeastern corner of the state, and you just take Highway 61 and you go past Schroeder and Lutsen, Grand Marais, Koval, and pretty soon you're there. Miguel Sano leads off the 4th inning.
No, Do I get to drop all the little towns in between, or did you?
Sure, you've been up there, I'm sure, on the North Shore.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely one of the more gorgeous drives in North America,
Yes,
in my opinion. 2-1. It'll be Sano, Park, and Arcia, middle of the Twins lineup here in the fourth. And fouled over the Twins dugout. Have you ever wintered anywhere else? Have you always, like when you played for the Tigers or later with Toronto, did you always come back to Minnesota for the wintertime?
I lived in Bayfield, Wisconsin for a couple winters when I first signed with Detroit.
High fastball gets Sano, one away.
And then I was out in Montana for several years. But back home.
Okay. One down. Here's Byung Ho Park.
Here's that fastball. You can see Bobby Wilson wanting it up in the zone, and it's got a little tail to it. Comes back up and in. Fulmer just doing a great job so far.
Park struck out swinging his first time up. Now Tapper to short. Velas is there tonight. And 2 quick outs here in the fourth. That'll bring up Arcia. Join Fox Sports North at the next viewing party Tuesday, May 3rd, beginning at 6:30 p.m. at Carboni's in Burnsville. Jack and I will be in Houston. You can watch the Twins take on the Astros. Enjoy food and drink specials, register for tickets and prizes, and more. Visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar. Here's Arcia. Struck out his first time up. And he takes a strike.
See,
now 0-2.
Late swing there from Arcia, just behind that. If you're a pitcher and you see a guy that tardy, you don't really want to speed up his bat by throwing anything else.
Down and in, 1-2.
There's the pitch count, 41 strikes. So Fulmer throwing the ball in the zone.
And Arcia lines a sharp single to center. Went down and whistled a liner past the glove of Fulmer. And that'll bring up Nunez.
Pretty good pitcher's pitch right there. And Oswaldo went down after it. Like you mentioned, he was able to barrel up the ball. Somehow get the good part of the bat on the ball here. Take another look at it. I guess it had too much of the plate there. That's what's great about replay. You get to see what you didn't see the first time.
Nunez, in this day and age when everything is recorded video wise and players have the option, luxury if you will, of being able to watch prior at bats, prior innings on video after the fact, would you have been one of those guys? Would you have spent a lot of time looking at video of yourself?
You know, I think it's important to, like, I just, you know, what my eyes saw watching the game live and then what I saw on the monitor were two different things. And so I think it's important to look back at pitches you think in your mind that you made. And I'm sure I would have probably been reassured that I wasn't thinking the same thing, that the pitch I thought was so good that wasn't called was probably a ball.
1-1 to Nunez. That poked foul. But I would imagine if mechanically you didn't feel right, I can imagine you looking at the video and seeing, you know, did I break my hands too early or whatever.
I think it would really help the mechanics. You know, your pitching coach in our time, we had to depend on our pitching coach to try to help guide you through some of the mechanics that were going the wrong way. And you had to trust in him because sometimes you couldn't feel it. But to see it in person, I think would be very helpful.
Nunez takes a little bit low, 2-2. 4 singles for the Twins. And 1 runner as far as second base. That's been it. Up the middle and a base hit. Arcia to second. And he'll hold up there. And the Twins get another 2-out single. That'll bring up Escobar.
Making Fulmer work a little bit here. Another fastball. And that ball right down the middle. Came tailing back over the middle of the plate. Nunez doing a great job. He's been hot for most of the year, and he doesn't try to do too much, just makes good contact out in front.
Escobar hit a ground ball to Cabrera his first time up. Twins are hoping that Escobar's bat will pick up a little bit. He was given Wednesday off, and then the Twins had an off day yesterday, so a couple of days off, and the Twins are hoping that it'll kind of freshen up his hands a little bit. And up a little bit, ball one. Escobar so good at getting doubles, and it's kind of what the Twins need here. Double here might score a couple runs, get them on the board, and get them back into the game here a little bit. Hughes has done a nice job settling down after the rough first inning. And now 2-0.
66th pitch there for Fulmer, and Phil Hughes at 69 pitches after a rough first inning. So you can see that Phil has settled in, and the Twins are starting to work the counts a little bit better and getting some base runners. All they do, just like you said, Dick, they need a couple to cross home plate.
In his 3 starts for Toledo, a total of 15 1/3 innings. And his 3 starts weren't heading in the right direction. Less effective after every start so far this year in the minor leagues. Escobar with a base hit to center field. Arcia will score. Nunez to third base. 3 straight 2-out singles, and the Twins are on the board.
Taking it right back up the middle. That's what every hitting coach wants out of you. Seeing a ball, tracking it, and then just shooting it right back up the middle. And Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, is going to come out and have a little word with his young pitcher. Pretty swing right there. See where the contact's out in front of home plate.
6 singles for the Twins, and 5 of them have been right up the middle. The only exception, Santana's ground ball off the glove of Cabrera. And a quick trip to the mound. Rich Doobie trying to coax the 12th out from the right arm of Michael Fulmer. See, the pitch is pretty much center cut right down the middle.
Yeah. Several of them have been. And that's something that young pitchers don't realize, that's where you need to go back and look at the reviews after the game and see that the ball's way too much of the center of the plate.
And now Suzuki, who singled to center with 1 out in the 3rd. And a high strike call, 0-1. Breaking ball gets a swing and a miss. 0-2. To Suzuki, and throw to first. Keeping an eye on Escobar. If the Tigers wanted to give the Twins a stolen base there, Escobar could go to second, then the tying run would be there for a 2-run single.
Well, playing up the middle, shortstop Aviles and Kinsler at second base. They're giving them plenty of room there. They're playing deep. Straight up center fielder goes is playing shaded to the right field side. Sometimes that's just to get away from the umpire and the pitcher so they can see the pitch.
Didn't mean to, and a check swing foul.
By design, you can see that Bobby Wilson and Michael Fulmer are trying to go up the ladder quite a bit with fastballs. When you're ahead in the count, you see that quite often, but especially with guys that can throw in the mid-90s like Fulmer can. See that? He tried to call it up, and then he shook.
Off the plate, 1-2. Chopper behind third and a foul ball.
That last pitch is the pitch that Fulmer's had a little bit trouble with his location. It's the two-seam fastball. You can see that Wilson wiggled his finger, and that means in. And he wants that ball to tail in, and it comes right back down. It's almost like it's just sinking straight over the middle of the plate. It's not getting the tail that he wants. There's that same pitch. He's going to want this one in.
And Castellanos, busted back grounder, he fires across. The Twins string together 3 2-out hits, all singles to get on the board, and it's 3-1. Pepsi fans of the game enjoying a Friday night on a cool but beautiful evening here at Target Field. Phil Hughes had a rough start, gave up 3 runs in the first. He's settled down since, now to the 5th. And J.D. Martinez, an RBI double and a run scored in that 3-run first inning. Tapper foul, 1-1. Bramer working this series, the next couple series, in fact, with Jack Morris. Bert Blyleven taking a break back in Fort Myers, Florida.
Think you teed him up today?
Pretty good bet that he did, I would think. Missing, down and in, and it's 2-1. Martinez, Miguel Cabrera, and Victor Martinez. Drilled to center, and Santana back makes the catch. Well, Martinez can't hit the ball any harder, but a screaming liner caught by Santana. 1 down. That'll bring up Miguel Cabrera. So that means that Bert will be of no help on our trivia question, which is often the case anyway. So Jack Morris, here's our carsoup.com trivia question. Prior to Miguel Cabrera, who was the last AL player to win back-to-back MVP awards? Strike one.
I got my thinking cap on, and I'm not going to cheat on the cell phone.
Right, right. One strike. And that's what's remarkable about the fact that Bert and I get every answer right is we don't use the new technology.
No.
At least we don't admit to it.
Well, that is key right there.
1-1 to Cabrera. Hit hard to right. And Sano hoping for a bounce, but it's gone. A home run. Tremendous power to all fields. And it's 4-1.
That was just a flick of the wrist.
Home run number 4 for Cabrera. His 6th career home run against Phil Hughes.
Here's the swing of Miguel Cabrera. See that Suzuki sitting outside. Ball's out there. But
didn't we show you that that's where you want to pitch Cabrera, down and away? That's where Hughes pitched him, and look what happened. Wow. And now Victor Martinez singled in a run in the first, hit a fly ball to right in the third. Speed pitch and strike one. And now Dozier can't make the play. A ball skips by him, and Martinez is aboard. And the 5th inning has been a loud inning here for Phil Hughes.
Let's go back to Miguel Cabrera. Since 2004, his ranks amongst Major League Baseball players in all the key categories offensively, and you can see that's a long time. 2004 till today, and he's first in almost everything except home runs, and he's third in that with 400. So the game's best right there.
Fourth home run this year, the 412th of his career. And here's Upton, 2 singles so far. Both have gone right up the middle. When he first came to the major leagues, Cabrera hit .268 in 314 at bats with 12 home runs and a lot of strikeouts, 84 and 312 at bats. Then almost immediately after that, it clicked for him. Batting average went up. Strikeouts were still very high in 2004, but the walks came up, the power came up, and it just seems like when health has allowed it, he has gotten better, just a little bit better every year. Bouncer to short, stepping on the bag, firing across, a double play. And for the Twins, their 14th double play on the ground this year. Cabrera homers to make it 4-1.
4-1 lead as the Twins trail the Tigers. We're now inside the Minnesota Lottery winner's circle. I'm here with Spencer from Albert Lee. Spencer, this is quite the sign. This is an interesting dynamic. You're the Twins fan. Your brother-in-law is the Yankees fan. How does this rivalry work in your family?
Really questionable. He's a good guy otherwise, but this is our only indifference.
So when you found out that he was about to be brought into the family as a Yankees fan, did you try to stop that from happening?
No, I knew better rather than to pick that fight. I just kind of embraced my sister and this new guy.
Well, you're going to get $100 worth of scratch-off tickets from the Minnesota Lottery. If you do end up winning, are you going to spend it on this fellow, or are you going to spend it coming back to this ballpark?
That's to be decided. Yeah.
All right, well, Bert is obviously off the night, but whichever one of you gentlemen are doing the circle duties tonight, here we go. Guys.
Well, thank you, Audra. Santana with a quick 0-2 hole to try to work out of, leading off the 5th inning. Albert Lee, of course, everybody knows where that is, straight south of the Twin Cities.
90 miles on site, 35E, right?
Yes, and south and a little bit west of Wells, Minnesota. 1-2 to Santana, then Dozier and Mauer. Popped up. Moved by the tarp. Castellanos tracking it. And he's got room on the track. And down. That'll bring up Brian Dozier. The Twins flex plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. You can choose in advance or even the day of the game. Don't plan, flex plan. Go to twinsbaseball.com/flex or call 800-33-TWINS to learn more. One down, and now Brian Dozier 0 for 2. Went down swinging in the first, popped up to Kinsler in the third. Up and away, ball 1. Santana's emergence, activation and emergence as a leadoff hitter. Dozier's is more often now been moved down to second spot of the batting order.
I think in reality, that's where they would like to see Brian Dozier hit, is the number 2 spot. They've been searching for a premier leadoff guy for a while. Danny Santana could be that guy because of his speed and the fact that he's doing a lot better job bunting, and if he can get on base more, I think that man right there, Paul Molitor, will keep him in the leadoff spot.
And a 4-pitch walk puts Dozier aboard. Fulmer knows the rules. He's got to get 15 outs to qualify for a win. He's got 13 of them. He's got a 3-run lead, and now he's got to face Mauer again.
First walk of the game given up by Michael Fulmer.
Mauer with a sharp single to center and then a ground ball to Castellanos. He's had a threat in the third. A couple of 1-out singles, first and second, 1 down, but then Dozier popped up. Mauer was retired. Strike 1.
Joe took the first pitch last at bat. Fastball right down Broadway.
And now 1-1.
Third baseman Nick Castellanos was in on the grass prior to the first pitch, and now they've got him moved back, figuring that Joe's not going to bunt.
Dozier chased back to the bag. Last year, Mauer struck out about once every 4.5 times at the plate. When he was the league MVP, and no, he's not the answer to the trivia question. He won just 1 award in 2009. Put incredible numbers up over the course of 5 months. Swing and a foul. And in 2009, Joe had 523 at bats and only 63 strikeouts, roughly 1 strikeout every 8 at bats. And so this year, and now 78 at bats, just the 8 strikeouts, and he's doing a much better job in counts like this. It's 1-2, but so often we see at bats like this turn into walks when he's been behind in the count instead of ending up in a strikeout. 1-2. Driven to center.
It's out of here.
Back is goes.
No, it's not.
On the edge of the track. Bauer hitting at about 400 feet from home plate for out number 2.
Another good swing, but deepest part of the park, and he did not. Well, he got it underneath it just enough that Anthony Gose is able to glide back to the track. Fulmer was throwing a little bit harder in the first couple innings, and now his fastball is back where it normally is, and then low to mid-90s. But he threw Joe Mauer a changeup in that last sequence, and that's something that we've been told he has a very good changeup. Hasn't had to throw very many of them yet, and sometimes that's a good thing, that you can save one of the pitches in your arsenal for later in the game.
So often, you know, we see pitchers who have a tough time navigating the third time through a batting order. Inside 2-0. Paul Molitor talked about it with Tommy Malone. First couple times through the batting order he's great, but that third time always seemed to snag him a little bit. And so, I mean, that kind of what you're talking about.
Sure.
Leaving a pitch in your quiver, right, and throwing it that third time through the order, maybe having a better chance getting that hitter out a third time.
More importantly, throwing it for a strike. You can have a third pitch, but if you can't locate that pitch, it's really not that good to you, because hitters' tendency is to take it. They haven't seen it yet.
Fouled back, and it's 2-1.
I think the pitchers, the soft tossers that are still in the game, and there's not that many of them anymore, because more and more scouts are looking for kids that can light up the radar gun. But the guys that are the soft tossers have more trouble with what you were just describing, the second, third, fourth time through the lineup, because they don't have put away stuff. They don't have stuff that'll blow you away, and the reaction time for the hitter is greater.
Driven to the gap in left center field. Rounding second, Dozier on his way to third. They're going to wave him around, and the throw is not handled cleanly by Aviles. And Sano drives in Dozier from first with a 2-out double.
There was a great job by Gene Glenn, the third base coach. He was watching as they were putting that play together in the outfield, and he saw Mike Aviles almost nonchalantly going after that ball. I don't know if we'll see it here, but the ball's hitting the left center field alley, and it wasn't going to go deep. Might have a better look at it right here. Here's the shortstop, Mike Aviles, and as the ball's coming into him, he bobbles it, but it's almost like he wasn't in a position to throw out Dozier anyway, and Gene Glenn just waves Brian around. So it's almost like they stole a run right there, but it was good base running.
And now Park represents the tying run. Twins scoring once, finally in the fourth. Tigers get that run back. Now the Twins score again.
Here's Anthony Gose throwing it to the shortstop, the cutoff man, Mike Aviles.
Well,
and the ball was in the dirt, but you could see he was peeking too.
That was a very short throw to ask a center fielder to make, and Gose couldn't even get it to Aviles on the fly.
We'll take it.
And now Park, a strikeout and a ground ball to short. Down and away, ball one. So Fulmer's got his 14 out. Still needs one more to qualify for a win.
And there's some action now in the Tiger bullpen, so it could be close for him.
Check swing. I think he went. No, they don't even appeal. 2-0. Park successfully checked that swing. And there's an off-speed pitch over for a strike.
got a very good changeup, very similar arm speed, same delivery as his fastball, and that's what the deception factor is in a changeup. You want that hitter to think fastball, see fastball, but it comes in slower.
Ooh. Backhanded nicely by Aviles. He sets and fires, makes a nice play. Aviles keeping that ball in the infield. In fact, he got the third out on a pretty well hit ball off the bat of Park. The Twins get one back in the fifth. Apparently he's completed his major league debut with a 2-run lead. You can kick off the youth baseball and softball season with a free clinic on Saturday, May 7th at Prairie Island Sports Complex. The clinic is open to boys and girls ages 6 to 12 interested in learning basic tips and skills from Minnesota Twins community coaches. No pre-registration required. You can visit foxsportsnorth.com, click on upcoming events for details. 4-2 ball game, and now Michael Tonkin comes into the ball game to pitch to the Tigers.
Numbers for Michael this year. He's pitching in his 9th game. He needs to do a little better job of holding base runners. That's an obvious point, but he's been told that by his pitching coach. And Phil Hughes, not typical Phil Hughes, a little short outing today. 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs.
And a strike on the outside corner. Some of the news made today was the announcement that Alex Meyer would be moved into the starting rotation and will start Tuesday in the second game in Houston. The ball hit to left, a base hit for Castellanos leading off the 6th. But within that came the revelation that Meyer still would be available tonight for relief duty. Nevertheless, it's Tonkin who comes out of the bullpen here in the 6th.
I think all along, and this is just my take, I haven't actually had the conversation with Paul Molitor or Neil Allen, but I think all along he's been out in the bullpen for long relief. And now that the Twins are in the top of the 6th inning, that really doesn't qualify for the long relief. So Tonkin's in instead of Meyer. And there's a couple other Twins throwing in the bullpen. There's Neil Allen.
He's carrying 13 pitchers.
Casey Fiend and Ryan O'Rourke.
Mike Aviles, the batter, a bouncer to short and a strikeout so far. Outside, ball 1. Now these are situations where Tonkin, as you said, simply has to improve. He's given up stolen bases. And I think just to show that he has the ability to throw over there and keep an eye on runners, whether he picks them off or not, just that goes a long way toward runners getting walking leads and People aren't known as base stealers, still steal bases.
At least it's sending a message to the other dugout that you're aware that the guy's on first, that you actually care that he's on first. Now, I'm about as guilty as anybody about runners at first base. I figured if they weren't at third, they couldn't score in 90 feet. But as I matured as a pitcher and realized that I am not even giving my catcher a chance here, and I was gifted with a great throwing arm of Lance Parrish when I was young.
Vilas chases, and it's 2-1. Castellanos, about 330 games in the big leagues. He has 2 stolen bases. So he doesn't need a whole lot of discouragement to keep him from going. 2-1 to Avilas, and if you keep him at first, you might get a ground ball, might get a double play. That one sailed on Tonkin, and it's 3-1.
Another thing about Michael Tonkin is his physical size. As tall as he is, and he throws the ball in the low to mid 90s, is he takes quite a high leg kick. He doesn't have the typical slide step that gets the ball to home plate quicker. He cocks and rotates its hips, and all those things take fractions of a second more time and allow that base runner to maybe get an extra step.
Just think how many times plays are challenged at second base, and we're talking about frames,
right,
you know, of video. And then you're giving away a half a second. There goes Castellanos, and the pitch fouled away.
And again, Michael Tonkin not even looking, not a pause on a different sequence of changing the timing of the base runner. He just wants to get in his own rhythm and throw the ball. And you just, man, this is the major leagues. You've got to realize that they will expose your weakness if you don't show any sign of adjustment.
3-2 pitch. Longer hold. And a look over.
That's better. And that could be coming from the dugout. There's a sign of stepping off.
There he goes. And the pitch is high as ball 4. Well, it doesn't matter when you don't throw it over the plate either. So now first and second. Nobody out, and Bobby Wilson might be asked to bunt. Wilson has been called out on strikes, and he fouled out to Mauer. Inside 1. The Twins had an off day yesterday, and the bullpen should have recovered from some short starts in the National Series. Suzuki out to try to settle down Tonkin.
Good meeting for Kurt Suzuki right there. This game is still within reach, and you just can't fall behind by walking people. And of course, Michael Tonkin not intentionally trying to do that, but Kurt Suzuki, the veteran that he is going out there to try to give him a little extra time to regroup, refocus, and hopefully work the count in the right way.
Busted bat to third. Nunez to the bag, fires across, double play. That was a good trip to the mound by Kurt Suzuki.
A good location of the fastball there. Totally sawed off the bat of Bobby Wilson. A nice ground ball that Nunez did the right thing. He stepped on third, got the lead runner, and then threw across for the double play. Here's the pitch. You can see that Suzuki's sitting up on the outside corner, but it worked. A mistake pitch worked in the favor of Michael Tonkin. It ran back inside and ate up the hitter.
And Tonkin faces 3 men. He ends up getting 2 outs on the double play grounder, and he's excused for the night, with Anthony Goes due up next. pull himself out of a mess in the 6th inning. A leadoff single, follow-up walk, but he jammed the hitter, got a double play grounder. Now it'll be left to Ryan O'Rourke to get the Twins off the field down 2 runs.
Paul Molitor going with the lefty-lefty matchup here, bringing in O'Rourke to face Anthony Gose. Gose has been on base both previous times, a base hit in the 2nd inning and a walk in the 4th.
Eventually the Tigers will have Cameron Maybin and Gose in a center field platoon, but Maybin's out. He's had all sorts of injury issues, broke his wrist, then he injured a shoulder on a rehab assignment. And Gose hasn't hit much from either side of the mound, playing the percentages, and O'Rourke misses the outside corner. Vilas with decent speed at second base. And there's a strike called 1-1. Phil Hughes went 5 innings, and now the Twins using 2 pitchers here in the 6th. Out by Suzuki. O'Rourke's first time on the mound since his heroic efforts in D.C. on Sunday. Came within a whisker of getting his first big league win. And that's past Suzuki to third. Ball 3. Kinsler, next man up, and this is the only man O'Rourke is asked to get here, with Fiend warming up in the bullpen.
You see, just overthrew a breaking ball there that sailed way out of the batter's box, the right-handed hitter's batter's box.
O'Rourke pretty much a situational left-hander, but the Twins were out of options. He gave the Twins 3 2/3 innings. Swing and a miss, and it's 3-2. He walked the batter with 2 out in the 16th inning, or 15th inning, I should say. And then Michael Tonkin came in, and why revisit the rest? It was terrible.
It was a long
It was
day.
awful. 3-2. And Gose pops it up behind second base. Santana coming in, and Santana with a sliding catch. Right in the shadow of Escobar, Santana made the catch to end the inning. Great play by Escobar retreating, and it's a 4-2 ball game. Lightning catch in center field by Danny Santana.
And it's always about communicating when there's going to be a play that sort of lands in between, and you could see how Eduardo Escobar had stopped. They both him and Dozier gave way to Danny Santana, and he makes a nice sliding catch, but that's the reaction from a manager because they just don't want to see a collision.
And there may have been communication, as you put it, before our replay picked it up, but there wasn't anybody taking control and I got it.
Right.
Or whatever the Spanish equivalent of that is. Alex Wilson will pitch for the Tigers in the 6th.
Santana had to come a long way to catch that ball, but the out route was recorded.
And Arcia, that's a ball. Arcia's 2-out single didn't seem significant at the time, but then Nunez and Escobar followed with base hits, and the Twins got their first run. It's foul between Butch Davis and the line. Ooh, right through the 5-hole. Ball person down there. I guess it's a ball guy.
Young Dick Bremer.
You never saw me play, but there's more truth to that than you know. Oh, it's hit to me again.
If he can smile, we can smile.
2-1. And that's foul.
Right-hander Alex Wilson coming in relief here, and I know that Brad Ausmus is pleased to see him back in the bullpen. He's a workhorse for Brad Ausmus and the Tigers.
Twins have not gotten a leadoff man aboard yet in tonight's game. Swing and a miss. Arcia strikes out one down. And that'll bring up Nunez. Follow Twins baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. You can customize at-bat to feature the Twins and stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video, highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Here's Nunez. Single in the 4th, right up the middle. And Nunez looks back at Ryan Blackney. There's been a lot of demonstrative disapproval here tonight with Blackney's strike zone. And now 1-1. Tiger bullpen has been the Achilles heel for this Tigers team for a long time, particularly at the end.
Yeah, the closer more than anything else. And their closer now is K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez. I think their middle guys and their middle to late guys have improved. There's some guys that are starting to grab roles out there, but still kind of a question of whether or not Francisco Rodriguez will be the guy that he once was as a closer.
You know, 7 hits, 7 2/3 innings, 4 walks, 2 home runs, relying more and more on his changeup.
There's K-Rod right there.
There's Joe Nathan, Joaquin Soria. Foul back. He's got to pitch up. Send it to the backstop. Oh, and the list goes on and on. Jose Valverde was great, and then toward the end of his
Papa Grande.
Yeah, toward the end of his tenure in Detroit, he fell out of favor. Trevor May, Casey Fiend down in the Twins pen. 2-2 to Nunez with 1 out in the 6th. Squirted to the right side. Kinsler picks it up. Awkward throw, but he makes it on target. 2 down. Nunez just wanting to put the ball in play, and for the most part, we've seen a better job of Twins hitters doing that with 2 strikes. And in Nunez's case, very often we see him just put the ball in play to the right side.
To his defense, Eduardo Nunez has done it really all year. He is not one of the guys that have had a lot of strikeouts. He had a very good start in the month of April. But as we watch the bullpen warming up, I think Paul Molitor and Neil Allen have got a game plan in place that they're sort of sticking with, and that is a guy per inning. Once the starter comes out after the 5th inning, they don't really like to extend guys unless the game is tied, and they have to.
1-0 to Escobar. Here's a drive to right field, and Martinez is there. A 1-2-3-6. Then we head to the 7th. 4-2 Detroit. The Twins 4-2. Tigers come into the game a game above 500. And Casey Fee, the former Tiger, will pitch to the Tigers in the 7th.
See the numbers again for Casey Fee. He's making his 12th appearance. He's had some good ones and a couple clunkers out there. ERA not where he would like it to be, but he's had a couple of really good outings lately.
The opponent batting average quite a bit higher in his prior years with the Twins. About a 240 overall opponent batting average, but it's early. Casey's gotten some big strikeouts in his last couple of outings. And he'll try to pitch to the top of the Tiger order here successfully in the 7th. 2 innings in his last appearance against the Indians a couple of days ago. Hasn't given up a run in his last 5 appearances, covering 5 2/3 innings. Kinsler walked and scored to start the ball game. A couple of outfield flies have followed.
Kinsler's got some pretty good numbers against Casey Feen. Four for 10 lifetime, 400 average.
Down and away, 1-1. With an 8-man bullpen. Counting Tommy Malone. 2-1.
Yeah, both teams with 8 guys in the bullpen. That's kind of the way the game has evolved, really. Don't have as many bench players because of the shorter number of innings the starters are going with the pitch count nowadays. Left-hander Justin Wilson throwing now in the Tiger bullpen.
Base hit to center for Kinsler, his first hit of the ball game. You know, as much chaos as there is in starting pitching around baseball, it's not just the Twins making 2 changes today. We got to come up with a different term other than rotation. The term rotation suggests it's the same thing that goes around and around and around, right? That doesn't happen anymore in baseball. If you get 2-3 turns through your rotation with somebody not getting hurt, not getting demoted to the bullpen or to AAA.
Well, it's like a tire. You know, a tire rotates.
Right.
But every once in a while it goes flat. And you got to reinflate it.
Or get new tires.
Or get new tires, which, you know, they do that too.
I remember years ago when the Twins had a rotation 1 through 5, and I mean all 5 guys made 30-some starts, and it was, you know, a very competitive rotation 1 through 5. They're, you know, that was a luxury you just don't see anymore.
Well, I do agree with you on one thing. Every team seems to have the same issues. Everybody's always looking for more pitching.
On the ground, could be 2. 1. And the ground ball double play. That takes care of the leadoff single. 2 down.
Good pitch in front of Miguel Cabrera.
Carsoup.com trivia question. I'm going to go back to Yogi Berra in the American League.
I might go with Frank Thomas. Hey!
Very nice.
What a lucky guess, huh?
Okay. Well, we got it right. That's the main thing. Here's Miguel Cabrera with the bases empty, and that's an important thing, too. Up and in, ball 1.
Now you're probably wondering how I came up with Frank Thomas.
Well, I have my suspicions.
I work with him at .com, and
okay.
And he never ever says anything about his MB3 year, so it was a little help from the truck just to see your reaction.
Yeah.
And it was priceless.
Okay. Frank Thomas hit his 500th home run, not here at Target Field, but in Minnesota. As a member of the Toronto Blue Jays, I believe, at the Metrodome. To right field, and Sano will make a diving catch in the corner. Miguel Sano with a great catch, taking an extra base hit away from Cabrera.
Miggy even having fun with it. 2 Miguels.
When Miguel Sano hit it over, or Miguel Cabrera hit it over Miguel Sano's head. This time he tried to drop one in front of him.
Yeah, hitters, they have a tendency to talk to the ball like, go left, drop. And Miggy took one away from Miggy. That was fun.
Tonight's cricket, something to smile about, at least for Sano and Miguel Cabrera.
Nobody's happier than the guy on the hill, right? Something to smile about right there.
Let's see if the Twins can trim the Tiger lead, maybe tie it up, take the lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Kurt Suzuki will lead things off, and then Danny Santana and Brian Dozier. Inside, ball 1. Suzuki with a single and a ground ball to third. Justin Wilson's been outstanding for the Tigers, and he comes in to pitch to the Twins in the 7th. 2-0. Wilson with 9 innings pitched, 7 hits, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts, and no runs allowed.
Tigers have 3 left-handers in the bullpen: Kyle Ryan, Blaine Hardy, and that guy right there, Justin Wilson. And Brad Ausmus not afraid to go to any of them in the middle of the game.
Suzuki pops it up. It will reach the seats. Twins not hitting left-handers as well as right-handers. .225 the team batting average. Suzuki getting lefties at a .182 clip. Two and 1. Just missed the corner, and it's 3-1. Santana on deck. Tigers out hitting the Twins 9-7, and the Tigers have the only long ball, Miguel Cabrera's home run. And Suzuki takes a leadoff walk. Twins threatening here in the 7th with a leadoff walk. Let's take a look at the Grand Casino story of the game.
After a leadoff walk, J.D. Martinez doubles, and that scores Ian Kinsler. Then Victor Martinez gets a base hit, and that scores J.D. Martinez. Twins come back, a couple hits of their own. Eduardo Nunez or Escobar scoring Arcia. A home run there from Miguel Cabrera, and then Miguel Sano, a base hit, scores Brian Dozier from first base.
Danny Santana's first at bat as a right-handed batter this year. He swings at strike 1. Santana hitting left-handed against righties awfully well, but this is his first at bat with 28 at bats from the other side of the plate. And 0-2. In parts of 3 seasons, he's done a nice job balancing right-handed and left-handed.
Getting way more at bats from the other side of the plate, obviously.
Trying to do something here with his 0-2 pitch. Just inside, close pitch.
Catcher's glove does not move. Now, I don't know how far you can see. Fox Tracks has it 6 inches inside.
Presented by Carrier. 1-2. Santana fights it off. You know what we've seen, and we've talked about what we're seeing this year is the Joe Mauer of old. What we've seen so far, the Danny Santana of 2 years ago.
Yeah, he's not panicking with 2 strikes, and he really hasn't got to 2 strikes all that often. He's able to put a ball in play when he gets something he likes early in the count. Probably a better game plan for a lot of Twins hitters.
Missed inside again, and it's 2-2. The walk to Suzuki, just the second walk issued by Wilson. He had Santana 0-2, and now it's 2-2. Dozier on deck.
Well, the top of the order here to have a crack at Justin Wilson.
Dribbler, and Wilson fires and gets Santana on the play. Suzuki goes to second. Well, not much, but not a strikeout after a quick 0-2 count and a couple swings and misses, and the benefit of putting the ball in play. Now there's a man in scoring position.
Well, that's just it. You're moving the runner, even though you weren't successful yourself at getting on base. At least you put the runner in scoring position. Now Brian Dozier is going to have a chance to do the same thing. He had a chance last night late in the ball game with Santana on second base, and it looked to me like he was looking in the seats. Did not make contact with a couple fastball. Look at the room on the right side.
Dozier takes down an in ball one. Dozier drew a walk in the fifth with one out and then scored on Sano's double.
Now they don't have a true shift on. Kinsler is not on the shortstop side of second base, but he's shaded up the middle. And Miguel Cabrera well off the bag at first base. And they're basically saying, Brian Dozier, we dare you to hit it to the right side.
Nearly hit him.
And you're not going to hit that pitch to the right side very well. It was a good take. Tough when you have a left-hander bearing down on that breaking ball down and in on you to shoot the ball to the right side. But if he does get a fastball away, that's the one that maybe he will go with.
Two 2-0 to Dozier. 3-0 with Mauer on deck. Dozier 3 for 10 against lefties this year with a home run.
Well, you don't want to walk him here for two reasons. You got the Twins' most consistent hitter coming up next, and you put the tying run at first base.
Strike taken, 3-1. Dozier looked at that one, as you might expect, on 3-0, and he's hoping that Wilson throws that pitch in that spot. Again, anything on the inner half of the plate, and Brian is capable of tying this game up. He thought it was ball four, and instead it came across the belt as a strike. 3-2.
That ball was really deceptive for Brian. It's almost like he threw across his body a little bit. Foxtrot has it up in the zone. That's what Brian saw.
See what Dozier can do with two strikes. Chases the high fastball. 2 down. And now Mauer.
That's what happens sometimes when you have an umpire make a bad call, and they're human. They're going to do that, but it forces a hitter to chase a pitch that he normally wouldn't want to. Now Brian can handle that. He's as good as the Twins have as far as handling the ball up and in particular, but he swung through that one.
Mauer with a single in the first, ground ball and a fly ball, and the Twins are still hopeful of taking advantage of the leadoff walk. Among Twins players, it is a left-hander, Mauer, who's hitting left-handers the best. 7 hits, 20 at bats, a .350 average. And what that number tells me is high batting average with men in scoring position. He has just 7 runs batted in. I think it brings to mind, you know, Brian Dozier's had a tough time getting on base. Dozier's a guy the Twins need on base. He runs well. And they got a guy hitting for a high average, as Mauer is with men in scoring position. And on April 29th has just 7 runs batted in. That means there haven't been enough guys in scoring position for him.
Well, Brian Dozier's led the club in runs scored in back-to-back years, I believe. I know
over 100 runs.
Over runs, yeah. So he's a guy that Twins fans are really used to being on bases and running around the bases.
And now up and in, 2-1 with Sano on deck. And we're what, 1/5 of the way. No, it can't be. 1/6 of the way through the season, roughly the end of the first month. And Dozier has just 10 runs scored.
Mark Lowe now warming.
In the event this at bat gets behind Mauer, or this inning works behind Mauer to Sano. 2-1. Swing and a miss. 2-2. And this is what we've seen from Mauer, really bearing down with 2 strikes.
Watch out.
20 at bats against left-handers, and so far just 2 strikeouts. 3-2.
You saw the catcher there, Bobby Wilson, trying to frame that with his glove and keep it in the strike zone. By framing, what we mean is the glove's still in the strike zone. You catch it in the webbing, maybe out of the strike zone, but it appears to the umpire, because your glove's in the strike zone, that the ball is in the strike zone.
Struck him out. Mauer and Dozier strike out, leaving Suzuki at second, and we head to the 8th. It's still 4-2. At least one guy out here in the 8th. Victor Martinez is a switch hitter. Justin Upton and Castellanos are righties. So maybe we're seeing a bit of a expansion of Fiend's role from a 1-inning guy to a 2-inning guy. 2 nights ago he pitched 2 innings against the Indians and might be asked to go the distance here in the 8th.
I think it's probably more of a case where Paul and Neil are just going with the guy that they feel is the best option at the time. And Casey Fiend, you go down the guys who pitch late, Fiend and Trevor May, Presley, they're all capable of a couple innings. Not necessarily back-to-back-to-back nights, but they can do it 2 days in a row.
Victor Martinez, Justin Upton, Nick Castellanos facing Fiend. Driven to right on the first pitch, and it is back, and it is gone. Victor Martinez with a home run, and it is 5-2.
Just some good hitting right there, putting the barrel of the bat on the ball out in front of the plate.
The lead back to 3 where it was before the Twins even came to the plate.
See the ball down and in. And Victor just pulls his hands in, barrels the ball up. The head was down.
Driven to right on the first pitch, and it is back, and it is gone. And now Upton takes a strike.
Upton was acquired this offseason through free agency, and I think the Tigers understood that he's a very streaky hitter. He's the kind of guy that can go for a week or two without really doing much, and then he can hit 3-4 home runs in a couple games. And he hasn't really got on the great start that they were hoping for. As we look at Victor Martinez,
2 singles to center and a ground ball double play.
But he does have 2 hits in this ball game.
Upton, Zimmerman on the pitching side. He'll start tomorrow. 2 big free agent acquisitions by the Tigers in the offseason. You know, a year ago, when we opened the season in Detroit, the Twins looked bad. There's no question about that. But the Tigers gave the impression that they had the best team they had had in a number of years, starting pitching aside. Now there's a called third strike, and Upton doesn't believe it because from up here it looked like it was outside. 1 down. That's framing. Now you're saying the catcher doesn't move his glove when they frame, they just catch it.
Not a good job. Not a good frame job. No. Moving your glove is an indicator that to the umpire that you're trying to pull the ball, you're begging basically.
Fly to deep center, and Santana goes back, and that ball's gone off the base of the batter's eye. Castellanos hitting his 3rd, and the Tigers going deep here in the 8th against Casey Fiend.
When the Tigers are swinging it, there's probably no better offensive club in the division than the Tigers. And this guy right here has been a prospect for quite some time and started to come into his own. Nick Castellanos having a good start to his season, and that's a good indication how strong he is.
And now Mike Aviles 0 for 2 with a walk. Strike over the inside corner. Tigers now 28 home runs on the season. Didn't mean to, and a ground ball to first. All those years when he played, I never saw him drop a ground ball like that. And he's still got very good hands. That's Omar Vizquel over there.
He still takes ground balls once in a while in Detroit.
2 strikes to Aviles. Pop back on the play. You had a really good shortstop in your days with the Tigers, Alan Trammell, and Trammell was just so consistent, at least from a distance. That's how he struck me. I don't know that I've ever seen a shortstop as creative as Omar Vizquel was when he played.
Tremendous hands, like you said. He was my shortstop also. I played 1 year in Cleveland.
Oh, sure,
Omar was the shortstop. So, you know, comparing the two, Alan Trammell was your Chevy that ran every day, and Vizquel was a Ferrari that usually ran really, really well, but once in a while you'd have to take it in for service.
Okay, 1 and 2. Aviles checks his swing successfully. 2 and 2.
All I can say is if you're a pitcher, you want either one of them. Let's look at the side swing here on the check swing. And that usually, if he makes contact, the ball's going to be right up the middle. So I would call that a swing, but I'm not the first base umpire tonight.
And to center, and that's a base hit. Casey Fiend has faced 7 men and given up 4 hits. This a busted bat single, but it still counts, and it'll bring Wilson to the plate. Neil Allen frantically to the phone.
Guys wanting to know if he's ready. And that is all Paul really needed. I think he's going to come out and make the move.
Alex Meyer will come into the ball game here. And Meyer will have a chance to not only clean up the 8th, maybe go through the 9th as he prepares for his start Tuesday in Houston. And his 2016 debut comes here in the 8th in relief of Casey Fiend.
All of America's Studio Sports Update. It was on this date in 1962, the Twins tied a Major League record. 6 solo home runs in a game, the second game of a doubleheader sweep in Cleveland. Solo shots from Lenny Green, Don Mincher, Zoilo Versailles, Bill Tuttle, and a pair from Johnny Gorel. Twins went on to win 8-4.
Johnny Gorel, not known as a home run hitter. He got 2 in one game. Casey Fiend has given up 2 home runs just in the 8th inning here alone, and Alex Meyer will come in for his 2016 debut. A couple of games out of the bullpen, erratic control, and the Twins weren't sure exactly what to do with him other than send him down out of spring training, whether he should work in the role that he's in right now as a relief pitcher or as a starting pitcher. First pitch line to right, and Sano traps it, and it's a base hit. The first pitch from Meyer, now first and second, 1 down. The Twins ended up putting Meyer in the rotation in Rochester, and he embraced that role and performed very well, to the point where Tuesday it was announced today that he will make his first major league start against the Astros. Even though he ostensibly was a relief pitcher after his call-up, this is his first appearance.
Right, and he's been up for a few days now and has not appeared in the game, so this is kind of like a tune-up before that start. The Twins trailing by 4 runs, and it's later in the game here in the 8th inning, so I figure why not give him an inning.
2 pitches, and he's given up 2 hits. Santana's throw to Mauer, and 3 runs in, all charged to Casey Fiend here in the 8th, and Meyer's having a tough time getting the ball to Kurt Suzuki. And the Tigers, who started the game hitting against Phil Hughes, have picked it up here in the 8th inning. They have 5 hits already in the inning.
One thing we know about the big leagues is you can't get by with 1 pitch, and Meyer having a good go in AAA, and his fastball was back up there in the velocity that they like, but you just can't live and die with a fastball. He's thrown 2 of them, and they've both ended up in hits.
And then he yanks one to the backstop, and the runners will move up.
I don't know what that pitch was. I don't know if that was a slider or if he just overheld a fastball there, but no chance for Kurt Suzuki to catch this ball.
Come into that, looked like a breaking ball maybe. You come into the ball game and it's, you know, your return to the big leagues, and you throw 2 pitches and you give up 2 base hits. And so sometimes they talk about a breaking ball being overcooked. That was burnt. 1-0. Infield in now with the Twins already down by 5. Two 2-0 now to Kinsler. with J.D. Martinez on deck.
In the last couple of games, the Twins fans have seen a little difference between organizations now. Jose Barrios pitched the other day and made his major league debut, and of course they're all aware, as Kinsler takes a walk, of Alex Meyer. He's been in the organization for a while, and everybody's been waiting for him to blossom here at the big league level. And then you look at the Tigers tonight, sending out a young guy, Michael Fulmer, his major league debut. And Fulmer does a very good job. The Twins did get him for 2 runs, but he gets through 5.
Had the benefit of a 3-0 lead early on, but he never really looked like a rookie that was on the verge of collapse.
Didn't look like he was in trouble. He was around the strike zone, and Meyer's always been that guy. You always wonder. There's Barrios.
I'll go on record as saying I think Barrios' outing he's going Monday in Houston will be much better than the one 2 nights ago. The weather conditions will be much better.
Well, it'll either be a closed roof or an open, beautiful sunny day in Houston.
We'll see what Meyer can do to try to extract himself from this awful inning that he has entered into and contributed to. Here's a pop-up foul and out of play, with Martinez losing the bat and whistled right by Cabrera. Wow. And Martinez getting some more pine tar, and Cabrera probably saying, "You sure that's enough?"
Miguel Cabrera has fun every day. And I'm sure he's saying something to JD. JD trying not to smile, so maybe it wasn't poking fun at him.
1 strike to JD Martinez. To the right field corner foul, 2 strikes. The concern regarding Meyer, when the Twins saw him last year, spring training this year too, his release point. He tends to drop down and the ball tends to sail everywhere, and what they want to do is to try to get him to stay more on top and have better control.
Well, that's part of it. The majority of it is, number one, you have to have fastball command. He records his first strikeout. You have to have fastball command, but in the big leagues, as a starter and even a bullpen guys need at least 2 pitches, so you need a secondary pitch, and starters need 3 pitches. And there he drops the slider, and it's down in the zone. JD goes chasing.
And now Miguel Cabrera will bat with the bases loaded. 9th man to bat this inning. The 3 runs charged to Fiend. The 3 runners, the responsibility of Meyer. Check swing, ball 1. Twins deciding to send Tommy Malone to the bullpen. On the ground, and Meyer does a nice job leaving 3 runners on. He did allow an inherited runner to score, and the Tigers scored 3 in the 8th.
Lead over the Twins here in the 8th inning. Coming up next after the game on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink, we'll take a look at Michael Fulmer's major league debut, holding the Twins to just 2 runs on 7 hits. And he had the run support early, but it continued after his night was done. Home runs, the story of the night tonight. 3 of them for the Tigers. Will break down their offensive outburst. And of course, we'll hear from Paul Molitor. That's all coming your way next on Twins Live. See that.
All right, thank you, Audra. And the Tigers will bring out of their bullpen Drew Verhagen to pitch to the Twins in the 8th, with the Tigers a little more breathing room here in the bottom of the 8th.
Verhagen's a guy that gets a lot of ground balls. We'll see if that can be true here tonight. Miguel Sano going to lead off for the Twins.
A 5-run Tiger lead thanks to 3 solo home runs, and Sano squares to bunt. Takes a strike. Nick Castellanos says, "You want to bunt in front of me? Go ahead, big guy. I'm not coming in any closer." 1-1. Sano, Park, and Arcia. Tap foul. 1-2. Sano moved back to the outfield, and he's been impressive at third base, and tonight made maybe the defensive play of this game with a diving catch in the corner. Pitch up and a foul back, and there's no denying the fact that Sano's transition has not gone smoothly. No one, I think, in charge expected it to. But he was moved to the outfield because of his athleticism.
And his age.
And we've seen the athleticism recently, both at third base and now tonight in right field. They've got a good jump, a very risky play with 2 outs, making a diving attempt like that, but he made the catch. Check swing, called third strike. Those reacted really well coming in on the little numbers and bunts.
Well, shows some of his ability and agility as a third baseman. He can cover some ground. He's got a really strong throwing arm. And that doesn't really matter whether he's in third base right there, showing off that arm, or if he's out in right field.
We got really good technical people and camera people, and our camera person couldn't even track that throw across the diamond. The reaction time was a little late. Here's a high fly down the left field line to the corner. And catch made for out number 2. And that'll bring up Arcia. Twins have out hit 14-7 tonight. And they were behind the 8 ball before they ever came to the plate. Phil Hughes giving up 3 runs in the first. Twins were able to trim the lead back to a couple of runs twice. Arcia taking strike 1.
Verhagen, another one of the Tiger bullpen guys that have a power arm. 96 on that last fastball. Good breaking ball there at 79.
And Arcia taps a 2-strike foul.
You were talking about it earlier in the history over the last few years of the bullpen for Detroit. And I think overall Brad Ausmus is pretty pleased. It's just the real question, is their closer going to be the guy that they need him to be? The guys that get to the closer have done a good job this year.
Wilson, Verhagen.
Both Wilsons, Alex and Justin. Mark Lowe coming from Toronto.
1-2. And fouled away. Now Verhagen's numbers not all that great. 19 hits in 10 innings. And you can see the arm strength and the velocity. Phillies beat the Indians in 11 innings. 4-3. The Phillies surprising a lot of people. They're 3 games above the 500 mark. They'll be coming to Target Field, and Andy McPhail will be coming with them. President of baseball operations. And Arcia strikes out. That's a 1-2-3-8 for Verhagen. Night at Miller Park, the Brewers turned a triple play. Very similar to the Gaetti to Newman to Herbeck triple plays, plural, at Fenway Park years ago. 116 pitches for the starter Conley. He was pulled with the no-hitter intact. And then in the ninth, the combined no-hitter was denied by Jonathan Lucroy. Just out of the reach. And the Marlins ended up presumably winning that game 6-0. The score after the single broke up the no-hitter. You had a no-hitter against the White Sox. I can still see it. It was a game of the week. In '84, right? Yeah. You have any idea how many pitches you threw?
I do not.
What would have been your reaction had Sparky come out and saying, Jack?
Well, first of all, Sparky wouldn't have come out. It was a different time. You know that.
Martinez homered his last time up. He has 3 hits tonight. And he fouls it back.
I think it's the fans who are really the ones that are losing out on some of this stuff. And I know the reasons that ownership wants to protect arms and the pitch count and all that. But, you know, how many times in the last 3-4 years have we seen guys carrying no-hitters deep into a ball game and they only to be taken out because of a pitch count? It's part of baseball history, and they're just not even, you know. And then there really is no sense even debating this. I mean, it is what it is. You just have to accept it.
1984, you were established as one of the better pitchers in the league, and I'm not going to ask you specifically. I presume you were making top dollar for the Times. That's a ground ball near third base. 4th hit for Victor Martinez. Oh my. And he'll try for second, and he's got a double. What a night for Victor Martinez as he doubles, leading off the 9th inning.
Well, that's how you beat the shift. You go with the pitch. Meyer threw a fastball away, and Victor just said, you know what, if you're going to give me the whole side, I can go with it. Let's watch the location of the fastball way outside.
Foot outside.
And nobody there. Trust me, it's probably painful for Victor to have to run this fast anymore. But he's doing everything he can to chug a lug around first.
And now Upton. Up and in with a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. Well, getting back to your no-hitter and the way things have changed. In 1984, you were one of the best starters in the game, and you made top dollar for whatever it's worth in that time. Not nearly, though, you know, the average salary for a #1 starter these days. And you can understand, at least I can, organizations protecting their assets when they're paying pitchers of your caliber, you know, $15 million or more a year,
or 20 or more.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Or 30.
Out of respect for you, I didn't want to climb the ladder there, but you know, I can understand it. If I'm, you know, an organization and I've got a lot of money and a lot of years invested in somebody, I'm going to handle them with care.
There's Twins former Twin Mike Pelfrey.
He got 2 years from the Tigers. 2-1. Out of center field and a base hit. Santana charges, and Victor Martinez will settle in at third. So Myers faced 7 men and given up 4 hits and a walk.
I'll try to put it into perspective for you, and the difference in philosophy between the generations. I remember when the Twins minor league coordinator, minor league director called me to sign my first pro contract. His name was Ed Catalinas. He was with the organization a long time.
He was with the Tigers.
Right. This is when I was drafted and signed by the Tigers, and he said, we're going to give you X amount of dollars, and I said, well, that's just not enough. And he says, well, Jack, between you and I, pitchers are a dime a dozen.
Which isn't far off the pay scale back then.
It wasn't a whole lot less than what they were offering me.
1-0.
I think
to
baseball
Castellanos.
values pitchers a little bit more today than they did in those days.
We talked about this the other day in the wake of Jake Arrieta's no-hitter. Joe Madden, when he took over the Cubs 2 years ago, said, look, if you're a pitcher and you're threatening to make history, don't look in the dugout because we're not going to come get you. And I told Bert at the time, and I know you felt the same way, you'd have to appreciate that attitude, that if I have however many pitches I've thrown after 8 innings, if I've got a chance to make history, you want that chance, right?
Yes, and I think the players even do, and that's why, you know, Joe Madden, it's all fine and dandy, and I love Joe Madden. I know you know that. And he can say that to build the confidence in his pitching staff, but the message is not coming from the manager. It's coming from above him, and it's already been delivered to him. So he can say that, but doing it is one thing. And Arrieta's been around. I mean, you know, you don't have a problem with a veteran. You know what he's capable of. It's these younger guys that nobody knows about that go out there and have a chance What if a young kid came up and threw back-to-back no-hitters if he was given a chance in his debut in the second start? I mean, that would be cool for baseball.
I would.
But you're never going to see that anymore.
Meyer could use a strikeout. He got Martinez in the first, or in his first inning, in the 8th with the bases loaded. Twins bringing the infield only halfway in. They don't need to bring it in any closer with Victor Martinez at third. And a ground ball through the hole, a base hit, another hit for the Tigers against Meyer, and there'll be another first and third situation with a run in.
You can't catch a break, really. That pitch well out of the zone again. And Nick Castellanos going out and just being able to flip his wrist, pull it between the hole, short and third.
Fernando Abad getting loose down in the bullpen. The Twins are hoping to get Meyer and themselves through this 9th inning without any further damage, but now 3 hits. Here's Aviles, infield in about halfway again. 97, but nowhere close to being a strike.
Not much good 97 does if you don't throw it where you want to throw it.
Fouled back at 95. I like what the Twins did with Meyer, though, in their hopes of getting him locked in and his control refined to the point where he can pitch up here. Just from the standpoint of doing it as a starting pitcher, and whether that's his role up here long term or not, just the fact that he's on the mound more than he would be if he were a 1-inning reliever. Now, whether he has the stuff to get batters out a second or a third time, well, that remains to be seen. But to me, if you're trying to unlock a puzzle, in the case of Meyer, you'd stand a better chance by giving him 5 or 6 innings down in the minor leagues than 1 or 2 every other day. 2-2 to Aviles. Still nobody out here in the 9th. Breaking ball to center. Santana makes a running catch and fires it back in quickly. So a line drive, but an out. First out of the inning, and now Bobby Wilson will bat.
Abad is throwing in the bullpen, but I know, well, here comes Paul. Maybe I don't even have to finish my thought. No, he's going to the bullpen here.
Meyer with a trip through the batting order of the Tigers, and he gave up 5 hits and a walk, and so far just 1 run. And Meyer checks out. That will be the extent of his tune-up for his start Tuesday in Houston. out of the bullpen, and he'll try to flush that out of his mind and get ready for Tuesday when he starts against the Astros. Fernando Abad hoping to get a ground ball hit at somebody and get the Twins off the field in the ninth.
Numbers this year for Fernando. It's his 11th game, and he's really done a great job. Doesn't have an ERA yet. He's been the one guy that Paul can depend on to get an out, 2 outs, a pitch an inning. He uses deception into his advantage. Very good changeup and good command. Works ahead in the count.
Bobby Wilson will bat, and barring a double play, Anthony Goes will as well. Fifth relief pitcher for the Twins in tonight's game. And if you're going to use that many relief pitchers, you wish you were leading 8-2 instead of trailing 8-2. To left center field, hanging in the air for, and the ball drops between Santana and Arcia. Either could have caught it, and neither did.
It's the center fielder's ball, but unfortunately when Danny ran all the way over there right at the end, he didn't follow through. He's calling it, and the trouble is, so is Oswaldo Arcia at the same time, but Danny listens to him instead of goes for it, and that's frustrating.
A hit for Wilson. Should have been an out. And the raggedness here really began in the 8th inning. Dozier catches a line drive, and it's a double play. But the Tigers had 2 more runs in the top of the 9th inning. To 2 as things, as we said, started unraveling big time in the top of the 8th inning. A couple of Tiger home runs and then a couple of runs in the 9th. Butch Davis talking with his left fielder Oswaldo Arcia and his center fielder Danny Santana. Santana and Eduardo Escobar almost collided a couple innings before that. Buck Farmer just called up recently, will pitch to the Twins in the 9th.
Another one of the younger guns in the Tigers organization. He's been up and down a few times over the last 2 years. He's given a chance to start and now found a place in the bullpen in his 4th game for Detroit this year.
And Eduardo Nunez will lead things off for the Twins in the ninth. And time called. Bottom third of the Twins lineup. Twins got a lot of work to do. Nunez, Escobar, and Suzuki. First pitch lifted to center, right at Anthony goes. One down. Turnaround tonight, a day game after a night game, and it'll be Jordan Zimmerman going for the Tigers. Off to a great start since being acquired as a free agent. And Tyler Duffy, who started in D.C. against Zimmerman's former team, took a line drive against the shoulder, ready to go tomorrow. Game time a little after 1 o'clock. Pregame at 12:30. Here's Escobar, and there's strike one. And low ball. Zimmerman, upper Midwest guy from Auburndale, Wisconsin, which I don't know exactly where that's at, but it's got to be closer to go from Auburndale, Wisconsin to here than it is to Washington, D.C. or to Detroit for that matter.
Agreed. It's, I believe, central Wisconsin.
Okay. And just a couple outs away from Fulmer's first major league win. Up and away, 2-2. That's a foul ball. Twins started the homestand with a couple of wins and now are on the verge of losing a couple in a row. First homestand was a .500 homestand. The problem's been on the road, where the Twins are just 1-10. Then there are the Braves. They're 1-12 at home.
I think the tomahawk chop is popular there.
Last year of Turner Field, getting a new ballpark next year. And so far, they're not sending the ballpark out in style. 2-2. Foul back. Farmer, the third reliever, used. Popped up left side. Castellanos with the catch, 2 down.
You're missing one. There's been 4.
Yeah, there have been. I'm trying to figure who I missed.
Wilson, Verhagen, and now Farmer.
I just had one Wilson in there. 2 down, and hitting for Kurt Suzuki, Jorge Polanco. Talking with Tom Bernansky about Polanco, who of course is a switch hitter and looks like a guy who's going to hit at this level, and he's a more substantial human being than he was a couple years ago when he kind of looked willowy, and I mean, he's got some size to him.
Well, I have never heard that term, willowy.
Willowy?
I know what you were referring to,
right?
But I've never heard it.
He just looks bigger and stronger and more mature, and
more like an oak.
More like an oak. There you go. Keeping it in the tree reference, yeah. Tom Bernansky projects him as being a guy who be able to hit with full-time duty up here, which might be in the cards for him. 8 to 10 home runs a year. Very fast. Speed, one of the biggest weapons for Polanco. 2-1. Popped up near third. Castellanos, who went back for out number 2, comes in for out number 3. And the Tiger bullpen does a very nice job. Twins bullpen not so much. And the Tigers win the opener 9-2. Tom Hanneman, a quick turnaround on a night like this. That's a good thing.
It is indeed, Dick. Detroit looked like the Tigers of old tonight at Target Field, where they pounded out 18 hits, an opponent's season high. Up next on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll break it down. Home runs did the trick for the Tigers. We'll hear from Paul Molitor and look ahead to Game 2.